Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Owlet tournament. We're in playoffs, baby. This is going to be casted by myself, Marks, alongside Spooky, and produced by Silent Marine. So, Spooky, what do we have lined up here?
Marks, we have Crusaders versus Paradise Tempest, and
Crusaders.
I am super excited for this matchup. Whichever team wins here is going to go up against Team Growlulu in the finals. They won 3-0 over Danger Close Red and just really cemented their spot in the finals. And that's one of these teams who are going there to meet them. And I think, you know, Marks, I think we have some really interesting storylines here. I'm going to start. Let's say we haven't even gotten to the match yet, but let's say Crusaders win, right?
Yep.
Crusaders and Team Growlulu actually went against each other in match 1 of this tournament. And it was a reverse sweep for TG there. Crusaders going up 2, then losing in a 3-2 against Team Growlulu. So it'd be nice to see, you know, these guys get some experience under their belt. That was their first match, and now they're really in their prime. It'd be really cool to see those teams go up against each other again, you know?
Yeah, no.
On the other hand, you know, you got Paradise Tempest. These guys have been nuts. They've just been insane. They've been on top of their game the entire time. They've only dropped 2 maps. They have 4 games, and they've dropped 2 maps. So they're 12-2 in map score right now. They're pretty much the undisputed, you know, #1 of Owl right now, and I'm pretty sure TG is right there with them, just under them, in that #2 spot, you know? So it's like...
It's going to be interesting regardless on like who is going to win this fight, because like you said, Crusaders, they might have gone up against Growlulu in the very first round, but of course you can't judge a team based on how they performed in the first round, right?
Yeah, so I'm sure Crusaders want that rematch. You know, they want to beat the #1 seed, then they want to go back and beat the team that beat them in that first round. They want that.
Yep.
But Paradise Tempest, it's a large mountain to climb, man. I don't know if they're gonna quite get there, but I'm super excited to see this match.
Listen, last time we had the Crusaders on here, they won, securing their playoff spot, and it was the wonderful off-tank PT Handley said that they were going to win 3-0 against Paradise Tempest in this first round. I'm not predicting anything here, but PT Handley, if you're going to make it happen, this is the time. Prove that you got to put some action behind your words here. And we're looking for you to do it.
Let's see if he's as good at his predictions as he is on that diva. I'm not quite sure. Paradise Tempest. But, you know, we were saying the same thing like last week when we were casting the Crusaders Other Oxide match. We went into it being like, oh, you know, Crusaders, they have to win 3-1. I don't know if they can do it. And then, you know, they win 3-1. They make it in.
Yeah, you're completely right.
A little bit of deja vu for us here on the desk as we're talking about, you know, if Crusaders can do it, they've done it before. You know, they just slid their way into playoffs just barely.
Yep.
And now Paradise Tempest is up next. Let's see who is going to take this. I think we're getting started and going into our first match. It's going to be Oasis.
Yep, and it's going to be really interesting to see what these teams like to pull out. Is it going to be the classic rush composition that everyone is accustomed to? Or is Paradise Tempest going to be breaking out some of their more unconventional strategies that have proven to work really well in the past?
Yeah, you know, Paradise Tempest, I don't think really are a rush team. I mean, they play it well, but it doesn't seem to really be their forte. It doesn't seem to be their preference. You know, but I'm not really sure what these guys' preference are. They play dive, they play double shield, they play pretty much everything. Now, on the other hand, Crusaders, they really do prefer these rush compositions, which we're seeing on the screen here. We are on Oasis University, however. This is pretty much rush all day long. It's very close quarters, a lot of very small hallways, choke points you can take advantage of. This is a rush map, and that is what we're going to see. Lars and Marcus both breaking on the Symmetra. I wonder if these guys will stick on it as they move into this map.
Looks like Marcus was just having a little fun there, teasing out the teleporter, but never actually placed it. So it looks like Paradise Tempest are going to be first onto point now.
Yeah, and it's Lars using his own teleport, then switching over to the Reaper to get the teleport in and of himself. Now, their Paper Monk's trying to push forward, but he's frozen up. No team is getting the upper hand just yet, but Paradise Tempest pushing steadily forward, and the control point is now unlocked.
Yep, and now it looks like we're coming in as Paper Monk finds Lars off of the charge. That's going to be an instrumental first pick, especially in these rush compositions. And now it is the Crusaders all day. Let's go, Crusaders. They're going to be able to capture this first point, as they should just be cleaning up the rest of Paradise Tempest.
Yeah, an early charge onto Lars there, and it was Crusaders who were kind of waiting to the last minute. They wanted that engagement when they could get it, you know, as soon as the control point opened up. But they decided to go in, and it's that charge from Paper Monk taking out Lars. And you need all 6 members up if you're going to have a fair fight in this rush composition, especially in this rush composition. And you saw as soon as Lars went down, that was the go sign for the rest of Crusaders to move in. But still, a long fight means a lot of ultimates coming up. Amplification Matrix countered. Oh, Paper Monk!
Monk throwing the Fire Strike through the Amplification Matrix and finds 2. And now Paradise Tempest has to back up again, and he's able to find 6s again with the Fire Strike. This guy and his Fire Strikes are something else. PT Hanley just going for the reset meanwhile.
And look at that. One ultimate used on the side of Crusaders, and it's basically a wipe. That is great. That is exactly what you want. An Amplification Matrix plus the Fire Strike, that combination, 200 damage, takes out the support line instantly. Absolutely nuts. But still, with both Amp Matrixes being used on the other side, all these other ults are available, and looks like it's the Blizzard coming out from Clutch.
And Clutch is able to take out Lars, and that's going to be Chinote using the sound barrier to keep the rest of his team healthy. Right now, Crusaders are just edging Paradise Tempest all over the place. They are doing a great job at separating them, which is able to land them the kills and winning them the team fights.
Yeah, they're doing... These are so decisive, too, you know? This isn't, like, long drawn out. This isn't, like, a pick going on either side. Crusaders just win! They just go in, they get that first pick, they get that clutch pick, and it's doing so much for them. Sixus even using his Blizzard in that last engagement. Now we're getting down to final fights. I'm looking at these Rhines with these Earth Shatters. I want to see them open things up. Ooh. Huge shatters on both sides.
As soon as you say it, many people are going down. Chinote doesn't care. He's going to get a double boot off the edge right there. Marcus finding Magic Turtle with the Deadeye. And now this looks like it's going to be the Crusaders. Lars trying to do something, but he is immediately pressured back. And with overtime burning down, that is going to be round number 1 going to the Crusaders. They are trying to prove us wrong.
That was nuts. So many of those fights just opened up with 2Ks, specifically on the supports. Big shatters to end that last match. Azukari and Paper Monk, I think, getting 8 or 9 people on the ground between them with their Earth Shatters. But it's all positioning, and it's Chinote flying over the side to get a double boop on Ira and Rig. And there's no supports for your last fight. No healing means you're not going to win. We see Paradise Tempest. They have been baptized in rush by the Crusaders, and they do not want any more. They're switching over to this dive composition, while Crusaders sticking to their bread and butter. They have to contend with the Lars Farah now. Let's see how it goes. I'm looking at PT Hanley to deny the value from the DPS of Paradise Tempest.
It's going to be a little tricky, but Clutch Caliber has shown that he can find the Farah in the sky with his icicles, so that's a little bit of extra support that might come on there.
Now, big anti-nade coming through. The rush comp doesn't really find anyone they want to go on. They're deciding on Azukari, it looked like, but now they're trades. Both DPS taking each other out.
But Ira is able to find the res onto Lars, bringing back one of the DPS on the side of Paradise Tempest. Now, let's see them finish this up as Paradise Tempest. Oh my goodness, Lars has already charged up his barrage, which is absolutely insane, and he's going to be just taking out the rest of the Crusaders. Paradise Tempest is in it to win it now.
This is going to be the player to watch this entire time. This is going to be the matchup to watch, is Lars and Sixus pretty much versus PT Handley. Lars and Sixus get so much value. The DPS line for Paradise Tempest is what they're based around. They live to enable their DPS line, and especially Lars. You see him build up that barrage so quickly. It's on PT Handley to really deny a lot of this value with his defense matrix. And this is going to decide the game. Which of these matchups are going to get the better of each other? You see PT Handley goes up to counter Lars there, but he doesn't get enough value, it looks like. Marcus trying to save the team, put it on his back by taking out Sixus.
And we've got a Primal Rage in the back line of the Crusaders as Azukari is flying his arms around trying to push everybody, but he gets pinned. But it doesn't matter because Lars is able to find Marcus as well, as this is going in favor of Paradise Tempest. Once again, somebody please stop Lars in the sky, otherwise he will just continue to barrage your team with rockets.
Yeah, and we've seen this a lot, I think, throughout Owlet, is a Pharah against the Rush comp. And we've seen a lot of teams do different adaptions in the Volume 0 Los Beefers game. I remember Volume 0, they went against a similar composition and they switched off Mei onto the Soldier. You actually have 2 hit scans trying to take that far out of the sky. Crusaders don't quite want to do that. They have a lot of ults online. Clutch Caliber with that Blizzard, but I mean, how much value are you going to get with an AoE against a Tracer and a Pharah?
Ooh, that self-destruct is looking a little bit scary from Magic Turtle right now. But as the Amplification Matrix comes out,
there it is.
Lars just comes in, taking out Fight and Marcus with his barrage. The sound barrier coming out from Chinote. Now it's on Paper Monk. He should be able to do a lot of damage. The self-destruct coming out, and now he is alone on the point right now. It is not looking great for him, as Rig is able to find him with a Bio-Nade. This is an extremely scrappy fight here, Spooky.
Yeah, that was a huge anti-nade coming out from Rig. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to keep the point alive. Marcus with a double kill. That might seal the deal.
And even with the Primal Rage, it isn't enough, as Fight is able to take out Azukari, and finally the Crusaders are able to flip this point as they try to go back for the high ground. But they can't lose one more team fight, otherwise this could be the end. And we are going to go round 3.
Scrappy, and you see now Clutch switching over to the Soldier. Exactly like I said, he wants to get that little bit of extra counter onto the Pharah. And it might work, you know, the Pharah isn't as good in these situations. It's not as good on the attack on Oasis as it is on the defense. You need to use your cooldowns, you need to use your fly to try and get in position. It's not quite as powerful. You won't be able to get those drop-down barrages like before, but he doesn't need it. He picks Marcus. That's an early pick.
That is not looking good, and now Clutch Caliber is going to be falling down. Lars once again completely uncontested in these skies as he is just going to be cleaning up. Oh, Sixus gets the stick onto Paperbug, and this is all Paradise Tempest now as they clean up the rest of the Crusaders as soon as they flip this point. Crusaders, they have to get somebody back to touch this point because we are in overtime now. Will they be able to get there? Chinote is able to stall it out. Paper Monk coming back on this Wrecking Ball, trying to stall it now and potentially get a couple of picks, but it looks like it might not be enough because Sixus is able to take out Clutch Caliber. Lars finding Paper Monk, and once again, this is not going to be looking good. Lars so deadly on this Pharah, charged up another barrage, and that's going to shut the door on the Crusaders for round number 2.
Yeah, look at me, color caster, normal Overwatch. It's hard to attack with the Pharah. I forgot that we are casting Lars here. We're not just casting any run-of-the-mill Pharah, we're casting pretty much the Pharah god himself. He has been so instrumental on this hero through all of Paradise Tempest's games, and this one is no different. Already, you know, we've seen a banger of a match coming out. It's 1-1, and this is only the first map. Oh, man, I'm getting hyped up. This is intense. Now we're going to see dueling dive compositions. The only difference is going to be the DPS. Marcus and Clutch Caliber, once again, trying to take Lars out of the sky.
Lars has just been so good on this Pharah, and he's charging up these barrages like no tomorrow, which is so scary if you're on the side of the Crusaders.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this is how good Ira's been at pocketing him, getting the damage boost when she needs to, and just making sure he's pumping in the damage. But that's going to be an early pick on the side of Crusaders. Sixus is down, and Ira falls.
Fight able to take out Ira, but Lars is going to trade that back for Chinote. Clutch Caliber now, he is fighting Magic Turtle, just trying to pressure out the rest of Paradise Tempest, but they've still got a Winston on point as he boops his head against the middle pillars there, and that's going to be first capture for the Crusaders.
Yeah, and they're doing a little stagger onto Magic Turtle here, so they get a little bit of extra time. Yeah, and it was an early pick on Ira. You know, I think Lars and Azukari were trying to fight that one back, but they just couldn't do as much as they'd want to. You know, you don't have the res online to get that extra person back into the fight. Ira wasn't able to get the res on the Sixes, for example. That was just a 5v6 and a 4v6 as Crusaders were able to push forward. We're going to see Lars. He is sick of playing Pharah, and he's going to go over onto these soldiers. He's going to match Clutch Caliber on the legs, but it's all high ground all day for Crusaders. They have all the positioning they can want. Finally, Paradise Tempest just touching the point, and that's going to be a dive in from Azukari.
And let's see if he can find anything. No, Clutch Caliber is going to take him out of the equation, but it looks like it might have been enough of an opening for Paradise Tempest. They're able to flip the point here as Ira gets Azukari back into this fight. Now this is looking like Paradise Tempest's fight to lose as Paper Monk is trying to do his best, but he is going to be beamed down by Sixes, and Paradise Tempest are going to hold on to this point.
Yeah, Azukari dies there, but it's kind of his suicide mission that opens up everything else for Paradise Tempest. It opens up the fight for them because he gets blown up there, but the point flips and it gets good positioning to Paradise Tempest. They're able to push onto the point and get a couple picks themselves. So, I mean, Azukari does his best to stay alive, but he does do the job done. They win the fight. Now it's going to be Lars taking out Paper Monk, and this one does not seem to be doing anything. The DPS coming alive.
We talked about the DPS on Paradise Tempest, but they are showing us exactly what we wanted to see, as they're pretty much just using their ultimate to completely delete the side of the Crusaders. But the Crusaders, they've got a lot of ults online now.
And that's a lot of value with usually low impact ultimates. You know, you normally get like 1 kill with a pulse bomb and nothing with the visor, but that's a team wipe with the both of them. Now Azukari going in with the nano and his primal rage.
Let's see how he wants to do this. The Primal Rage, oh, gotta watch out for traffic. Mark is able to escape the dangerous cars. Oh man, if you could dodge a car, you can dodge a ball. He once again is able to escape from there, and that's gonna be Clutch Caliber busted out the visor. He is looking for his targets, able to see Ira in the sky, but it's gonna run out. Now the self-destruct coming out from Magic Turtle. Oh, PT Hanley trades it for his self-destruct, but he had to de-mech himself in order to do that, and he's caught in the fray. Now, this is the Crusaders on point right now, just trying to push back the remaining members of Paradise Tempest, but as soon as I say that, Azukari, he's able to find a fight. And now PT Hanley back in the mech. Let's see if he can do anything. This is going back and forth between both of these teams so quickly. As we go into the overtime here, Magic Turtle able to get his remech right now. It looks like it's going in favor of Paradise Tempest. They are pushing back the Crusaders. It's a huge anti-nade onto the both DPS of the Crusaders, and as the wick burns down, that is going to be map number 1 for Paradise Tempest.
And that was, what a match, you know. We see Marcus playing Frogger with the cars coming forward. Azukari knocks him in, and I guess Azukari just has some of the worst luck in any main tank history, because he simply does not get any cars coming when he needs them. He consistently boops members of Crusaders into the traffic and nothing happens. You know, he's waiting for those environmental kills, but he just doesn't get them. Speaking of environmental kills, we got that little 2K from Chinote. Always fun to see the Lucio play of the game. But at the end of the day, it's all Paradise Tempest. You know, once they get off that rush onto the dive composition, they're doing so well. And I really want to highlight Ira. During that last fight, I was actually on her POV and seeing what she was doing. And she was doing so much to keep the team alive. She was denying Paper Monk's primal rage, pocketing Lars and Rigmadon as Paper Monk tried to get them, and continued by getting almost a pistol kill on Chinote. She got most of the damage done, but it was actually Rig's anti-nade that took him out. But Ira doing so much to keep the team alive, and there's just so much synergy going on with Paradise Tempest. Even if they go down a little bit, or if Azukari isn't able to find pretty much 99% guaranteed value, the rest of the members are there to clean up, and it's just it's a masterclass to watch.
It always is, and we've talked about the coordination that comes behind this Paradise Tempest team, and it is being showcased in full. You know, that first map, the Crusaders have shown us that they are pretty good at this thing called the rush composition, especially too when they were dueling against Paradise Tempest. But Paradise Tempest, they just decided to, you know what, let's play our counter rush strategy here. And that really worked out in their favor. As you talk about, like, the coordination coming out from the DPS line, as well as Ira and Rig, I thought was phenomenal. Azukari, once again, he dove in and got deleted immediately, but that was the perfect setup because Magic Turtle could go in there and boop the Crusaders off of the high ground, setting up the rest of the team for success. It's a pleasure to watch Paradise Tempest doing their thing.
Yeah, they honestly are so good. That is why they are this #1 seed. And you have to really watch and make sure, who is going to play which composition. We're going to have to see where these crucial fights take place, because if Crusaders are able to force Paradise Tempest onto the rush comp, like you said, then this is their match. This is their game. And I'm going to be looking, we're going to Junkertown next, for example. I'm going to be looking to see if, Crusaders are able to push their attack to that third point. Because I think, these third points of a lot of these maps, Junkertown, Walled, for example, these are much more suited for rush than the other points on the map. Yep. So, say Paradise Tempest push through all the way to third point, and then they get stalled out by the rush because they can't match the rush, just hypothetically. Then Crusaders come back, and if they're able to get those 2 points and switch onto that rush mirror, then potentially we've got a series on our hands. If they can do enough to force the rush comps or force situations where they're comfortable, then they should win. But on the other hand, Paradise Tempest, they're looking so good on that dive. They've looked great on double shield before. It's going to be a hard bargain to actually get them to swap off.
Paradise Tempest gives me the impression that they know they might not be the strongest rushing team, and so they've been mentally preparing for how to counter every single rush composition that might be coming out. And I think that it could be working for their favor. Even if we do get to that third point on Junkertown, I could still see them getting a lot of value out of the Pharah if Lars decides to play it. And once again, Lars, this man can play whichever DPS role he wants to, and he is getting value in for Paradise Tempest. He is almost like an unstoppable force of nature. Actually, we are going to be getting a little bit of a substitute in here for the side of the Crusaders. Audacity is going to be coming in for Marcus. So let's see how the synergy is going to work and what the Crusaders want to play here.
Yeah, this doesn't signal to me that they're going to do anything too different. We've seen Audacity play the McCree before, and that is the slot he's coming in for. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what they want to play, or if it's just kind of, it's his map. He likes Junkertown, or potentially Marcus is kind of their control substitution. He's in there for those kind of maps. But this doesn't really signal to me anything like, they're suddenly going to play double shield or dive or anything. Audacity's a McCree player. It should be pretty standard. But I'm excited to see if Crusaders potentially have anything different, than just this rush composition. Because if they try and rush, I mean, Lars on the Pharah is so ready for it. Lars and Ira in the sky really get so much work done.
He really does. And especially on that first point of Junkertown, man, that is such an open sky. Like, Lars can rain down. And so the Crusaders, they have to make sure that they're countering that Pharah properly. Because ultimately, on that second point in our last map, the Pharah was the undoing on the Crusaders.
Yeah, it truly was. And again, I believe I called out PT Handley in the middle of the match. I was saying, he's the one who has to take care of that. And I'm sorry, PT Handley, but that 3-0 is now out of your grasp. It's, at best, Crusaders are looking at a 3-1, but we all knew that this was going to be a tough matchup. Now we're going to Junkertown. It's Crusaders map pick. So they have to know that, Paradise Tempest strats are pretty good here. But they decide to pick this over Route 66. So I'd like to see what Crusaders come out with. Because now that I'm thinking of it, Route 66 is probably a better rush map, at least that last point, than Junkertown is.
But if I was the Crusaders, and I watched some of these last games that Paradise Tempest has played on Route 66, I don't know that I would want to pick Route 66.
That's fair. That is really where they break out their double shield compositions and just let Lars go wild on the Ash.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, it's Junkertown, dude. That is like the double shield. That's a double shield map. It's really, you're trapped between a rock and a hard place if you're trying to dodge Paradise Tempest's weird strats. There really isn't, there isn't like a King's Row where you can reasonably assume that both teams would like to rush.
Yep. It's going to be interesting, but regardless, we are in Junkertown now. So let's see what these teams want to bust out here. Is Paradise Tempest going to treat us to the Paradise Special? How will the Crusaders respond? Let's find out.
I'm excited. Let's see. We got just a couple more seconds before we start seeing these compositions break out. And it looks like double shield coming out from Paradise Tempest. Double shield, double sniper. And I do like to see this. Normally we see Lars actually playing on the Ashe in these compositions. But and it's Junkertown first point. This is the most double sniper point in the map, except for maybe parts of Havana. And there's just such long sight lines, and there's going to be a lot of value he can get just sitting all the way in the back. But honestly, it looks like Crusaders might be ready for this. This might be what they've decided to bring Audacity in for, to break out the Genji, break out the dive compositions, and try and get that work in. Instead, no Genji today, but we're going to instead see the pirate ship composition. It's going to be Audacity on the Bastion. I'm going to look at Sixus and Magic Turtle to try and take him out. There's a lot of shields they have to get through first.
You'll love to see a Bastion entered into the fray. That is immediately going to wipe out all of the shield as Rig needs to run for his life because the bullets from hell are flying out. Already, this pirate ship is sailing. They've been able to set up on this point, and now Audacity is just pumping in the bullet damage. Clutch Caliber able to find Lars.
Yeah, Lars already down, but the Widowmaker isn't really your playmaker in this comp specifically. I'm looking at Sixus and Magic Turtle, and Sixus with an early pick on the Audacity, but I'm not sure it'll be enough. Many picks already coming through for the side of Crusaders.
And the Crusaders have almost pushed this to point 1 already. We see the res come out onto Audacity, and that Bastion is going to be reigning supreme as they easily walk to first point.
Yeah, and it's all on, there's no one who can just step on point and contest, and it's kind of those early picks coming through. Lars dying on the Widowmaker isn't too impactful, but still, that's one more member that won't be able to do anything to push in that damage. But still, we're going to see a couple changes. We're going to see Lars go over to the Ashe and Sixus over to the Junkrat. That Dynamite and those bombs will be able to put a lot of damage around the shields. And if Rigmadon can get a good Discord off, someone can get deleted really quickly. But still, the cart hasn't stopped moving.
This cart is running wild, but Rig is able to find Paper Monk, and now Paradise Tempest. They want to push this engagement. Lars is cleaning up on the back line of the Crusaders, and now it's going to be a team wipe. Finally, Paradise Tempest are able to stop this cart.
And that's so good for them. Look where they stop it. It's right under that bridge there, so they're able to set up on this high ground. This is exactly where they want to play. Raid can just mark a target, and the rest of Paradise Tempest are able to blow them up. Obviously, the Bastion's not going to work if you're not set up already, so we're going to see the rush composition coming out. But I'm not sure if it will quite be enough, as Azucar and Chinote, through that amplification matrix, they're just going to clean them up.
Oh, man.
Stop that card from moving.
This cart is still trucking forwards, even though this team fight is all but lost for the Crusaders, and now it's just going to be cleanup. Six is able to put out so much damage on this Junkrat. On Junkertown, too. Hey, it kind of works out. And now they're just going to stall PT Hanley here. Paradise Tempest looks like they found their footing.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, this was really what it was going to be. Oh, this is brutal. They don't care about the new Diva remake buff if they don't get hit by it. PT Hanley just feeds ultimate charge to the side of Paradise Tempest. He feeds 600 HP of ultimate because he decides to remech when he can't hit anybody. And that's such a stagger.
Ooh. This time bank now, ticking down, but look at the ultimates online for Paradise Tempest. The Crusaders must be a little scared.
Yeah, and that's the problem when you're switching a composition in the middle of a map. You reset all your ultimates with the supercharger coming out. Sixus falls, but that's a double kill with the tire.
It doesn't matter. Only 3 ultimates committed in this fight, but already Paradise Tempest have won it. Audacity able to push out Rigmadon. He is trying to make it work, but he is eventually going to fall. And Paradise Tempest, they're eating away at this time bank, slowly and steadily.
Yeah, they're finally able to set up, and this is exactly what you want to do on the double shield. And we see so many teams get stalled out on this point because of the setup, you know, because of the high ground. It's so strong for teams to be able to hold on. Their positioning is so good, and no comp takes advantage of positioning quite like double shield does. Magic Turtle commits the gravitic flux, but he gets stunned out of it.
Lars. Clutch Caliber is able to find Azukari. Now Rig sending out the Transcendence, trying to keep his team alive. It looks like this is going in favor of Crusaders, but as soon as I say that, Lars and Rig and Sixes say, no thank you, Mr. Caster, and they're going to be just cleaning up the rest of the members, and they've stopped this push once again.
Yeah, they certainly started, like, the rush seemed like it started out strong, you know? Magic Turtle commits his Gravitic Flux to try and just pick them all up, but Audacity was actually lagging behind a bit and gets a flashbang onto him. But it's not enough. They try and push through, but it's Rig with the Transcendence able to keep everyone alive against this rush composition. And Paradise Tempest have more ults to work with. Clutch Caliber is trying to get something done with this Blizzard, but Paradise Tempest know where they're coming from. They know they want to come up through this little hallway. And I'm not sure how many people this Blizzard's going to be able to hit. And the Riptire is coming out from Sixes.
Oh, Lars is... Oh my god, Lars Bob MVP. He just took out 2 people, Clutch Caliber and Paper Monk, and now Chinote. Oh man, somebody give that Bob a medal. Even as he has to fly away, we're going to miss you, Bob, for cleaning up the rest of the Crusaders as Paradise Tempest have cut the clock down to 1 minute and 30 seconds.
But the Blizzard did make them panic a little bit, because look at that ult bank now for Paradise Tempest. Nothing. They're trying to work up to Azukari's Supercharger, but it's not quite there yet. But there are a lot of ultimates online that don't matter if Fight dies first.
Oh, Lars, man. Lars is finding these first picks right away on the people that it matters. And with that, Crusaders, they have to back off again. Slowly and steadily, Paradise Tempest are charging up this ult bank.
Yeah, and the longer... That is a small problem, is that Lars is killing people before the fight starts, so they don't actually get to, you know, charge up these ultimates like they want to. So they're kind of in the same spot, but still, Azukari might be able to get onto that Bongos by the end of this fight, that Supercharger. Hopefully he'll get something, but no, Azukari falls, and that should be the sign for the Crusaders to go.
And the Crusaders are pushing this cart forwards, so pressuring back Ira on this top part here. PT Handley trying to keep his team alive. Paper Monk falls down, but he's able to take out Magic Turtle. And now Audacity just lets the Deadeye come out, taking out Rig and Lars, dismantling them from the high ground. And that's going to be point number 2. Even as the fight continues on, the Crusaders are able to make it.
They barely, though. I mean, you go into that with 5.5 minutes. And now, even with the extra boost from capping the point, you've barely got 1.5 minutes. That was a huge hold on point 2. Coming out from Paradise Tempest, and now they're going to continue to stick on this double shield comp because of all the impactful ultimates they have online. Only support ults from the Crusaders.
Oh. They're set up on the high ground as well, which is absolutely perfect to rain down these Junkrat mines. And the Crusaders, though, they're moving this cart forwards. They're already almost halfway there. And now Bob is going to be committed onto the point. The Immortality Field comes out, but it's immediately taken out. Magic Turtle taken out fight. Now this is Paradise Tempest once again pushing the Crusaders back as Paper Monk holds up the shield, but it isn't going to be enough. Lars is a menace on this Ashe, just taking everybody out. Somebody, please stop Lars. He's too powerful.
Yeah, and once again, you know, I'm looking at PT Handley. You got to get in the face of some of these DPS on the high ground. You have to eat up some of that damage, but it's going to be tough. There is a lot of damage coming out from Lars and Sixes. You're trying to eat Magic Turtle's orbs too. It's just not going to work. But there, PT Handley knocks Lars off the high ground. But it doesn't matter.
Lars is just too good. That's going to be the Supercharger and the Immortality Field taken out as the Blizzard is committed from Clutch Caliber. But it doesn't matter because Paradise Tempest, even in the frosty, frigid temperatures of Clutch Caliber's Blizzard, are able to kill the rest of the Crusaders.
Marks, it's the name of the game. It doesn't matter, and that's what it feels like. Crusaders keep trying things over and over again, and then suddenly, you know, someone from Paradise Tempest will step up, and then it's over. It's a fight win for PT. Lars committing the Bob now, and that's just another member that the Crusaders have to push into. This is over. This is all over.
Oh my goodness. You just see the kill feed lining up with Purple, Lars, and Sixes. Rig, he wanted to get his little time in the spotlight, and he's going to be able to do that, but that's going to be a stop from Paradise Tempest. Regardless, the Crusaders, they were able to push this cart pretty far.
They truly did, and it's both on the back of their pretty phenomenal Bastion composition at the beginning. It's also just that Paradise Tempest don't really have a composition that fights on point. You know, every time they're set up on this high ground, every single time, they literally do not want to, they're playing the floor as lava. They do not want to touch. So they're always up high, and it just lets Crusaders get so much value. They just get to sit on cards, and they get like what normally would be 2 fights or 0, because Paradise Tempest are just sitting up top and like trying to pump in damage, and it's just not, they're not contesting at all. Like, how many fights did Crusaders actually win there? Like 2?
It's like
maybe 2, and they got all the way halfway through 3rd point.
What I've noticed is Paradise Tempest, they will actually basically just keep Rig, Lars, and Sixus on the high ground and have their 2 tanks and Ira go down to fight this rush composition. And because the Crusaders now, they're watching this, like, people in front of them, then Lars and Sixus are able to get so much value. And we have Clutch Caliber sneaking in on this Reaper. Let's see if he can do something with this. I am super excited to see how this goes.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll be able to take out Sixus. It's the rush composition holding up close. This is exactly what I want to see from them. They don't want to let the double shield set up. They want to force Paradise Tempest, you know, potentially swap off onto the rush just to get out of spawn. And Rush thrives. Rush thrives on these choke points, you know, and spawn are choke points.
Audacity able to find Sixus. This is very bold. But it is the right move, as we see now.
They're swapping.
Paradise Tempest rush. They got to go to rush. Now let's see the Crusaders try and push their rush composition back. The respawn advantage definitely going for Paradise Tempest here. So the Crusaders have to be very careful on how they choose this engagement now, as both teams are looking at each other.
But at the same time, what are Paradise Tempest going to do? They're going to win the fight, then swap back to their double shield? I doubt it. They have ultimates built on. This is exactly what Crusaders want, but Sixus is the one with the first pick.
And that is not going to be good. Sixus finding Chinote as well. Oh my goodness, Sixus on this mace, so deadly. And once again, the DPS lineup from Paradise Tempest is kind of unreal. And now they're finally going to be able to push out of spawn. But Crusaders, they've been successful in making Paradise Tempest play the rush.
Yeah, this is what they want. This is where Crusaders might be able to get the win here if they go into this rush mirror. But at the same time, you know, we talk about how good Sixus and Lars are, and that's a team plan. You know, they're trying to do this. When Lars is on Pharah, Ira pockets him all the time. When they're on double shield, you know, Azukari and Magic Turtle take the brunt of it, so Sixus and Lars can be in the backline. Now, everyone has to back up with that Amplification Matrix coming out from Fight. Now, a traded Amplification Matrix coming out from Ira, but both teams are just happy to back off. They don't want to fight into these Am Matrices.
Yep, and Paradise Tempest, they're the ones who really need to kind of keep up the pressure here, because the Crusaders, he comes out with an Earth Shatter, and now the Crusaders are marching in. They're not able to get too much, but the Blizzard is going to be committed, as well as the Sound Barrier. Clutch Caliber using his... Oh, look at that Earth Shatter coming out from Azukari, showing, you know what, we can play Rush, and we're pretty decent at it, if I do say so myself, as he slams down almost half of the Crusaders here. And now this is just an absolute brawl over the point. Rig finding Paper Monk, and it looks like the Paradise Tempest team are able to just clean up the rest of the Crusaders now.
Sixus is an absolute star on this May. You know, Paper Monk lays down a big shatter, and you think, you know, that's it. Audacity's actually in the back line, prepping a high noon, but he doesn't get any value of it, and then Sixus decides to commit the Blizzard afterwards, freeze everyone up, and get them to start moving, and they ended up winning the fight. Despite everything going Crusaders' way in the beginning, it's all on Sixus, freezing everyone up and getting some of those crucial picks to continue Paradise Tempest into point B. And now they want to rush. They're playing rush like they want to.
This is, oh man, all of the ultimates are now coming out from both sides of the team. Lars able to take out Paper Monk. That is a huge pick. And now Paradise Tempest are going to be on the offense. They're going to be taking the rush to the Crusaders as they kill the rest of their team. Chinote just on point. Was that a Blizzard committed by Sixus? I have to think that was the fat finger.
That's some kind of BM Blizzard. Chinote and the Clutch Caliber were just stuck in the corner. Clutch raises up his ice wall to kind of protect them. They're like hiding from the monster outside behind this tiny, flimsy closet door. And Sixus just yeets the Blizzard against the ice wall.
Not today.
The only members of the team alive. I mean, if they get stalled out here, he's definitely going to want that one back. But in mental warfare, Sixus reigns supreme.
You know, Sixes was just flexing here, and now these teams are going to be brawling. Paper Monk, he's got this Earth Shatter. He doesn't find anybody with it as the self-destruct is going to go into the back line. So Lars able to find Clutch Caliber here. Paper Monk falling extremely low as Sixes is up in his face. Sixes is a really good on this May, and we need to watch him because he is putting in the work for the side of Paradise Tempest. Now Magic Turtle, he's up in here trying to take out Audacity. He's going to get the assist from Sixes, and Paradise Tempest once again are just going to be cleaning up as they reach point number 2.
And man, you know, we talked about Paradise Tempest. They didn't want to play the rush comp. Crusaders, they want to play rush. Crusaders, the only way they can win is if they force Paradise Tempest onto the rush comp. Well, they did it, and this is some kind of monkey's paw moment. Be careful what you wish for, because Paradise Tempest are coming out strong. Ultimates online, they have the sound barrier. Lars is committing the Deadeye right now, but there aren't super impactful ultimates. No Shatters or Blizzards online for either team.
And the brawl is going to begin. Lars still on this high ground, trying to fight Audacity as the sound barrier comes out from Rig, and that's going to be traded out from Chinote. PT Hanley, though, he is putting in the moves. He wants this win as he's able to take out Sixes and Rig. Paper Monk now just cleaning up. He's still got a shield up, and Crusaders, they're able to push back this Tempest. It is now nothing but a calm storm.
And PT Handley handling PT handily. It's in there somewhere. You'll find it if you look for it. But still, 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. But, you know, the card is far enough away that they might have 2 fights here, but it's going to be hard. Crusaders are going to have to keep winning pretty much every engagement here if they want to take this map. They really can't let Paradise Tempest get that card pressure that they're getting right now. It's close enough that if you lose the fight, I think that's game over.
And the Blizzard is going to be coming out, but PT is going to be feasting on that Blizzard from Sixes. Now the other Blizzard coming out from Clutch Caliber, as once again, it looks like the Crusaders are just going to be going as they continue to clean up. But Lars still keeping this fight alive. Oh my goodness, wait, hold on a second. I thought this was going in favor of the Crusaders, but it's Lars on the high ground who is now dropped down, who's able to just put in so much damage. Now somebody from the side of Crusaders have to come in and touch it. Chinote is going to be their dude, but as soon as he falls down, that is going to be Paradise Tempest winning map number 2.
PT Handley doing so much in that last in that last engagement, but it's really countered out by Lars doing just as much work, and it's just Paradise Tempest. They're so good. I really thought, you know, Crusaders would be better on this rush composition, and it just doesn't work out for them. We saw this whole map, despite Crusaders pushing it incredibly far with their Bastion composition to get so much value in the beginning, they pretty much cruised through half of the map, like all of point A, the most of point B, just by sitting a Bastion on cart. And as soon as that stalls out, nothing. It goes quiet. It's crickets for Crusaders. They win what? Like 1 fight on their offense, and maybe 2 after the Bastion goes down, and then they do a little bit of work with the rush comp, trying to hold Paradise Tempest in spawn, and that works out for a little bit. You know, their first point defense wasn't bad, but then they just start getting rolled over.
Yep, Paradise Tempest looked comfortable on that rush composition. That is something that is hard to beat. And you could tell Sixes, maybe he didn't really want to play the May, but he was going to play the May just because that's what he needed to do. And he, well, maybe not too happy about it. He is really good on the May. And once again, we want to highlight the DPS lineup coming out from Paradise Tempest. PC Handley was able to turn it around for the Crusaders towards the end there by bringing out some of his amazing diva plays that he is known for, but it just isn't enough. Once again, Lars, even on the McCree, on that high ground, when the fight was going in the favor of the Crusaders, Lars was just able to flip that around for his team. And that's really hard to stop.
Yeah, you know, I want to talk about it a little bit. You know, Sixes and Lars, when it's on this dive composition, Lars is in the sky, and he's getting pocketed by Ira, so a lot of focus is on Lars. When it's double shield, Lars and Sixes get to flank, as Azukari and Magic Turtle take the brunt of the damage. I was thinking, in Rush, you can't really do that. You're really based around Azukari on that main tank, on that Reinhardt, and Rigmadon on Lucio to actually figure out where and when you want to engage. You can't enable your DPS quite like that as you can the other comps. And I thought that would be Paradise Tempest's downfall. It didn't matter. Sixes and Lars got just as much value in those compositions as they do in the dive and the double shield. Absolutely fantastic job from them. We're 2-0 right now. Paradise Tempest over Crusaders, but we are going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. The winner of this match will be facing Team Growluwu in the playoffs. Will Paradise Tempest get their 3-0, or are Crusaders going to be able to come back and reverse sweep? Don't go anywhere. More Owlet playoff tournaments right after this break.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got the Crusaders versus Paradise Tempest. Right now, Paradise Tempest are up 2-0, but can the Crusaders come back and pull off a reverse sweep? Well, it's time to go to map number 3. Looks like we're going to be going to Eichenwald, as we do have a sub coming in from the Crusaders, as Marcus is going to be subbing in for Audacity.
Yeah, Marcus coming back in. It looks like Audacity really coming in to play that Bastion potentially, which worked so well for them on Junkenwald, Junkertown.
Oh boy.
It worked so well for them on Junkertown until it didn't. Unfortunate for Crusaders. They did manage to push it a good distance. Wait, I wanna kind of set the stage a little bit more.
Sure.
We've been talking about Paradise Tempest just being on a roll, which they kind of are. But if you look at the maps, Crusaders aren't doing poorly. They took that first point on Control. They get halfway through third point on Junkertown. I'm making sure I say that one right. Junkertown.
Say it 3 times. That's how you memorize.
But they're not. It's not like they're getting stomped on first point. No. They're not getting 100-0'd to back on Control. They're fighting for it. But so many times it just seems Paradise Tempest is a little bit more decisive. And they're able to get those opening picks, just clean up afterwards. They're not really brawly as a team. They just kind of roll over Crusaders.
And once again, it looks like the Paradise Tempest team likes to set up on this high ground and take their shots from afar. Even when we were seeing them play that rush composition, they still were setting up Lars and Sixes on the top ground just to put in a little bit more damage onto the side of the Crusaders. And this strategy has been working out pretty well for them so far. So I'm curious to see, Crusaders are really good. Don't get me wrong. They've got some clutch plays coming out here, but it looks like that positioning coming out from Paradise Tempest is catching them off guard a little bit, and they need to do something in order to account for that.
Positioning truly is everything in Overwatch, but my only concern is maybe Paradise Tempest are taking it a little bit too far at points because, we saw just how much value Crusaders were able to get on their attack simply because Paradise Tempest didn't touch the point ever. Yeah. They just didn't want to. They didn't want to give up their positioning to actually go down and contest the objective. So, potentially if a team is able to, take advantage of that and potentially force them off high ground after they get a lot of objective presence, Paradise Tempest might be losing maps in 3 fights because they never contest. Where some maps take 7 or 8 fights to get through, Paradise Tempest might be losing them in 3 because they simply do not stand on the point. So far, however, it's working out for them. Finally, we're going to see them push off of this double shield comp onto the dive they look so comfortable on. But it's Clutch Caliber on the Echo with an Echo Mercy rush style coming out from Crusaders. Let's see if this is what they need to contest Paradise Tempest and maybe finally knock Lars out of the sky.
It's going to be a tall order, but if anybody can do it, it could be the combination of Clutch Caliber and Chinote. Sixes trying to find value behind, and oh boy, that's not good. And they're able to trade that back, so that's looking all right. But Paradise Tempest, Lars is just reigning supreme. He's able to put in so much damage from this guy here. He is being contested, but it doesn't look like it is enough as he is just raining these bullets down. He's able to find one. Can he find another? No, but Clutch Caliber is able to take out the healing on the side of Paradise Tempest right now, and this looks like it's going to be going back to the side of the Crusaders in what looked like should have been Paradise Tempest's fight. Ira getting the res off onto the Diva, and the remake finds Chinote. Oh, that is not what you want to see. Now it looks like Paradise Tempest are going to be in control of this first point as they're just cleaning up the rest of the members of the Crusaders.
And you gotta be kidding me, that was all Ira who actually flew from Lars in the back into pretty much a lost team fight, just brazen as can be, open on the point, reses Magic Turtle, who is literally just dead on point. She flies into Azukari's bubble, gets the res off, and the Magic Turtle, he holds on to that ultimate a little bit to get the remake kill, and then cleans up 2 with the Diva, but that was all set up by the Mercy from Paradise Tempest. Great plays coming out from Ira, and that's the first point. But Rig, the support's doing so much on Paradise Tempest.
Ooh, PT Hanley is able to eat Sixus's bomb. PT Hanley's so good with that defense matrix, but it might be a little bit too late as now Paradise Tempest are contesting the high ground, which means that they're going to make a lot of cart progress before the Crusaders can even contest them.
Yeah, they just want to get what little damage they can get in before Crusaders are able to touch. And if damage means a pick, damage means a pick. You know, they get the rest, but I wonder if it'll be enough here.
We have the barrage looking at Lars. He's probably peeking for a little bit of targets here, but Clutch Caliber is going to duplicate onto the Winston. Lars, meanwhile, able to take out people. Oh my goodness, Lars, he is still running uncontested in this sky, even though the fact that the Crusaders know that he is coming in, it is still not enough. He is able to put in so much damage, and the rest of his team just cleans up the backline on the Crusaders, as that's point number 2.
5 minutes on the time bank, and this is all Paradise Tempest. The supports for this team are doing so much. Rig has hit amazing sleeps, and Ira just opening up that first point, but I wanted to highlight Rig getting the sleep on the Clutch Caliber as soon as he duplicates that Winston, and suddenly that's a whole ultimate, no value off of one sleep dart. Azukari switching over to the Rhine here, and Sixus on the Junkrat. They're taking advantage of these close quarter compositions. There are a lot of ultimates coming out on the side of Crusaders, but it doesn't seem like they're getting anything done.
Ooh, man, Magic Turtle, what a great self-destruct. He gets the remet kill onto Clutch Caliber. Oh no, now Paper Monk is able to take out Azukari, so that could be the favor back to the Crusaders. Right now, though, it is Paper Monk alone, as it looks like he is stuck and naded, and that's going to be Paper Monk falling down as Paradise Tempest are able to push forwards once again. Already, Lars is close to his next barrage.
Yeah, Lars close to that barrage. Sixus dying crucially because he almost had that Riptire online. Now, the fight isn't over. Ira gets the res on.
Oh, and that is a wonderful pin coming out from Azukari. Unfortunately, he does fall down, but it might be all too late because it only looks like it is PT Hanley on the point, and here comes the Riptire. Sixus is looking for the spawn kills, but he is going to go back in order to take out PT from his mech. And if PT falls, then this is not going to be looking good. Can anybody come and touch? They are able to make it back just in time, but Sixus is able to take 2 out with his grenades. Oh my goodness, this is... The Paradise Tempest team is pushing hard, but the Crusaders look like they're able to stabilize just a little bit. Marcus now able to take out Sixus. That is going to be an important pick as Lars is able to get taken down as well. Marcus coming in clutch, and Clutch Caliber taking out Ira, and finally the Crusaders have pushed back the Paradise Tempest team.
Right when they have to, they're really up against Sixus and the supports for so much of that. Sixus on this Junkrat getting so much work done. First he gets rezzed, and then he gets nanoed from Rig, and just gets so many picks off the back of that. Good work from Crusaders to actually be able to hold off against that onslaught of grenades and mines and Riptires coming out from the DPS from Paradise Tempest. Now, we're going to see the rush comp fully coming out from Paradise Tempest, and Crusaders got to be a little bit scared of this one.
Ooh, and the self-destruct coming out from PT Hanley doesn't find anybody. And there goes the largest Earth Shatter I have seen all day. And now Paradise Tempest are just going to be walking over the Crusaders off of the back of Azukari with that massive Shatter to open up and seal the deal on that team fight, as they're going to be walking this in right now. They're trying to contest it, trying to get someone on point. They're able to do so, but fight is going to fall down. Now the Wrecking Ball gets charged out of the way, and Paradise Tempest are all over this point. The Riptire coming out, taking out Clutch Caliber. Oh, Lars, you gotta slow down, buddy. And that is going to be Paradise Tempest making it all the way to the end.
Azukari laying the Shatter down from the other side of the map. It seemed like he was so far away, but knocks everyone down. Paper Monk, maybe just because who shatters from that far away? that's nuts.
You don't see it coming.
Paper Monk maybe just not ready for that one, simply because who does that? But Azukari, he no fear at all, just lays the Shatter down, puts everyone on their backs, and that's really all she wrote. We saw even the Wrecking Ball coming out, just trying to stall this last point, and the ultimates coming out from the DPS. They're able to clean it up all of the way. 2 minutes 17 on Eichenwald. You know, we need something coming out from Crusaders, or their playoff run is going to end right here, right now.
This is a tall feat to conquer. That's not the right turn of phrases, but I think you know exactly what I mean. And the Crusaders,
okay, I mess up kinds of phrase all the time.
if they're going to pull it off, then they need to at least finish this point. Meanwhile, Paradise Tempest, they know if they can just stop them at any point during this map, but they're going to win 3-0, and they're going to be moving on here. A lot at stake right now for both teams.
Yeah, Paradise Tempest, if they stall out Crusaders at any point on this map, it's over. It's done. Crusaders have to get all the way to the end with time if they want to have a chance of taking this map. Even if they get the 3 points in overtime, the best they're hoping for is to hold for 2 minutes.
Can we just comment on the fact that Clutch Caliber went up into the air and Lars almost took him out from the sky?
Yeah, Lars just plunked him a couple of times. And Clutch is going to go back and swap over to that Hash. Once again, we're seeing this odd style of rush where they want Clutch on whichever DPS he wants to be on, and then Chinote pocketing him on the Mercy. Let's see if it's going to be enough, and let's see if this is enough to actually keep the tanks alive. Rigmadon says it is not.
Ooh, and already Paper Monk falling down as well. This is going to be Paradise Tempest just cleaning up the rest of the members of the Crusaders as they try and escape. But Sixes, he is pushed up all the way, just trying to scout out to see if anybody else is there. But that was a solid defense from Paradise Tempest.
Yeah, Lars actually gets a huge, like, 5-man dynamite on their approach, and it's so hard to fight through that constant damage. We're seeing everything swapping up. Crusaders in the mirror.
Ooh. I wonder how this one is going to come out here. Let's see if they're able to get value out of this, because it's kind of hard to push into a double shield with a double shield as the Bob is committed, and it's going to immediately find Paper Monk. That is not looking good. And now it's just going to be Paradise Tempest once again rolling over the Crusaders, beating them on the mirror. What do you even do at this point if you're the Crusaders?
I mean, you can't keep swapping like this. Once again, we go back over to the Reinhardt. We're going to see this kind of Sigma rush comp. And this has to be what they stay on, because if they keep swapping, they have no ultimates, and they're just kind of throwing themselves against Paradise Tempest. I don't know what they're going to do. I think this composition might be their best shot to get in close and lay down a bunch of damage, and they need to get something on this Amp Matrix if they want to win this game. But Sixes, the Riptire's coming down.
It's climbing the tower. Who knew that it was actually related to Spider-Man, and it is taken out of the air by Clutch Caliber. But that's going to be a supercharger coming in, which is extremely dangerous. Let's hope that they can deal with that as soon as possible. Otherwise, once again, Paradise Tempest are just going to be reigning supreme. Now we've got a Flux coming in here, and oh boy, the bodies are just fallen to the ground as Paradise Tempest are holding on to this point with an iron grip.
And they have to work for every step, you know? It's so hard to watch. It's so hard to watch teams try and attack into Paradise Tempest, specifically on Eichenwald. I think we've seen this before. They just get plunked with damage every step of the way. The Orisa pumping in all this constant pressure. Rigmadon on the Zen, just discording someone. The Amp Matrix, Dynamite, the Mines, everything is so oppressive.
It is just difficult to go in.
Through.
They can't contest this. This is too much pressure from the poke that is coming out from Paradise Tempest. And Lars, once again, he's going to take out Paper Monk because Lars is being left unchecked. And with his buddy Sixes, there's nothing these two rascals can't handle.
Less than a minute on the clock. This could be the last attack. Crucially, they get Azukari. That, despite having 4 legs, Orisa does not come back quickly. Sixes down as well, but he has the Riptire, and you've got to watch out for that coming out from the flank. They have to rush this fast if they're going to take advantage before Azukari gets back onto point. Bob coming out and Amp Matrix, they need to win this one.
Oh, and immediately Clutch Caliber is coming out, but his Bob might be able to do something here. Dueling Riptires. Let's see which one gets value. Oh, it's going to be Marcus's. He's able to take out Ira and Lars, and now there's a flying Junkrat in the air that just needs to be taken out and is going to be done so by Marcus. And finally, they're able to capture point number 1, but it was definitely not as quick as Paradise Tempest.
Crusaders finally coming alive. Their playoffs will not end here. It will not end today. Or it might end today, but it won't end right here. Meanwhile, they're trying to keep going with this value here. The Gravitic Flux coming out, followed up by Paper Monk trying to get damage down under it, and they're pushing forward. They're really forcing Paradise Tempest onto the back foot. They don't want to give them time to set up here.
Yep, and that is going to be enough, I would think, but it doesn't matter. Wait, Sixus is contesting the cart right now, and he's able to take out Chinote, and so that's going to stop a lot of cart progress coming through as the Flux is committed by Magic Turtle. Paper Monk, though, able to take out Ira. Now Lars is, once again, just doing what Lars does with his buddy Sixus, hanging out, just killing the enemy team here. And that's going to be a stop, once again, from Paradise Tempest.
I guess Sixus heard us talking about how Paradise Tempest doesn't want to touch the cart and just he takes out both members who touch the cart. He goes down, kills Chinote, follows it up with the pick on Marcus, and just takes the cart over by himself. And
Lars,
what can you even say, man? Lars, he's just getting pocketed. He has the shield in front of him from Magic Turtle, and he's just happy to plunk shots in. Barely a minute left.
The Crusaders are, though, getting a lot of cart progress right now. We talked about the Orisa being slow, and they're able to push it all the way up to the bridge, but it looks like it might just be too late. Six is so deadly. You know, we also talked previously about how Lars was able to generate the barrages so fast. He's also generating these bobs left and right.
Yeah, he just puts down so much damage. Look at the damage dealt on the side of Lars. 15,000. It's Marcus on the other hand with, or it's Clutch on the other hand with almost 7. Lars is lapping his counterpart in damage dealt. He's just pumping it down, and Sixus isn't even that far behind them.
Marcus trying to contest it, but that is going to be a Rip Tire coming out from Sixus. Let's see if he can find value from it. It is taken down mid-air, and now the Crusaders, they're able to push forward a little bit with this new double bubble comp, but that's going to be a bob on point for the Crusaders here. And now Sixus is able to take out people from his death. Marcus using this Rip Tire, trying to find value, is okay. The Rip Tire doesn't find value, but his own death is going to. And now the Crusaders are going to basically push this all the way through, but they've only got a couple of people on point right now. This is getting down to the wire here. Oh no! There's a Doomfist coming in from the side of Paradise Tempest. Sixus showing that he can play whatever DPS he wants to, and it is going to work. But Fight is keeping this fight alive. Now it is all of the range coming in from the Crusaders that is going to take this to point number 2. They're able to push through this.
And they get a second chance of life here off the back of this double bubble comp. Fight putting in the amplification matrix. Crusaders are Ichabod Crane, and this is Legend of Sleepy Hollow. They know if they get across the bridge, they will be safe. But they do it. But, you know, the Headless Horsemen as Paradise Tempest are coming right at them. A minute left on the clock. They're trying to get somewhere, but they have to cap with time.
And this supercharger coming out from Paradise Tempest is going to really swing the favor into their fight pre-game. And that's going to be huge, because what that means is this is even less time for the Crusaders to be able to push up here. And the Crusaders are separated. Now they're just chasing down Marcus, and he's going to fall down. That is a lot of stall coming out. It is not looking good for the Crusaders right now.
38 seconds left on the clock. Once again, Paper Monk, who's been really playing mystery hero, is hitting all the main tanks back over onto this Reinhardt. This does seem to be the hero he feels the most comfortable with, but it's a lot you have to push for. PT Handley's got the Graviton coming out. You have to come up big with it, but look how much pressure is just coming down from Paradise Tempest, and Fight's out.
Oh my goodness. Fight, that is not a good look as Lars is able to take out Paper Monk. The grab does come out, but not too much value found out of it because your Reinhardt was already taken out. Now the Flux coming up. They're all sitting ducks in the air, but we are going to see Chinote commit the sound barrier, trying to keep his team in this battle. Now Bob thrown in just to keep the fight alive, give them an extra tank on point, but it might not be enough as Paradise Tempest are just too powerful. The Wrecking Ball coming in from Paper Monk, trying to stall it out, but he is shut down, and the overtime wick is burning down. Oh no, Crusaders are just coming in one by one, and it isn't going to be enough as they're going to be stalled out. And that is going to be Paradise Tempest moving to the finals with a 3-0 victory over the Crusaders.
Yeah, Paradise Tempest, they are going to be our victors. They are going to meet Team Growlulu in the finals. What a match coming out. It was, honestly, this was, for a 3-0, this was pretty exciting, and we finally see that nano junk I was talking about here. Sixes.
Oh no!
So much work, and it was absolutely insane.
Oh man, like what do you even do against the DPS lineup of Paradise Tempest? It seemed like Lars was initiating fights on his own, able to find picks, and then Sixus would just follow it up and finish the rest of the team up. What do
Yeah,
you even do to that?
I don't know. If Lars isn't doing something, Sixes is, and we saw in that damage dealt on that last point, Lars and Sixes had almost 30,000 damage together, while the DPS for Crusaders were just pushing like 12 or 13. These guys are just pumping in damage all the time from all angles. It's absolutely nuts.
It's like whenever the Crusaders would leave and enter into a little stronghold, immediately their DPS or their support line was getting a headshot in from Lars. And that is scary pressure to be walking into, first of all, when the team fight hasn't even begun. But then as soon as the team fight started, Sixes just in the back line, no matter which hero he was playing, was able to just get so much value and just pick out the necessary people from the Crusaders, leaving them pretty left to dry, honestly.
Yeah, but Marks, I know we want to keep talking about the match, but we do have to pick a player specifically. And, we talk about Lars, we talk about Sixes. So much. These guys do so much. But I really want to give the player of the match to kind of the unsung hero, the person who really enables them the most in a lot of these compositions. The player of the match tonight is going to be Ira on that main support, on that Mercy, on that Baptiste, putting in so much of the work to keep these members alive. So we are going to give the player of the match to the main support. And we actually do get the entire support line, both Ira and Rig, coming on for our interview. So we're getting that set up right now. But they're not here yet, unfortunately. I think we are going to go to a quick break as we get them set up. So don't go anywhere. We're going to have a break with the support line, or we're going to have an interview with the support line for Paradise Tempest, Ira and Rig Madon, right after this break. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got the winners from Paradise Tempest, Ira and Rig in the booth with us. And just to start this out, wow, congratulations. You guys have won this first round, and you're going to be going up against Team Growlulu. But how are you feeling coming out of this match, going 3-0 pretty decisively against the Crusaders?
I mean, it feels... Go ahead, Rig.
Oh, no. I was going to say it feels great. We knew that they were going to be a real challenge coming in. Their brawl especially, we were really worried about trying to match up to it. Chino on their Lucio player is just really fucking good. His synergy with their Rhine, mwah, so good.
And that boop from the Shatter, scary stuff. It was scary stuff.
Oasis, we were quaking in our boots, not going to lie, after that first round on University.
We had to step up our game for sure.
You know, especially that's kind of what we were talking about here on the cast. We're like, you know, if Crusaders can force Paradise Tempest into the rush comps, you know, maybe that's where they'll be able to find the win. And that actually happened on Junkertown, and you guys kind of rolled. So I know that Crusaders are really good on that rush composition. So how exactly do you guys feel on the rush? It doesn't seem like it's really your forte. You guys want to go the double shield. You want to go the dive. But when that rush comes online, how does that really come together? Like, who kind of shot calls for that? Who decides how to play that? Since you guys don't really seem to want to go to rush.
I think we were just as surprised as you guys to be having to play that on Junkertown. But in a case like that, we all have to step up. It's not, you're right, it's not the comp we like to rely on the most, and so it requires every single person on the team to really amp up their calls, really amp up their positioning, and it was very much a team effort in that situation.
And so going forwards, looking at Team Growlulu, are you guys going to be doing anything special to kind of prepare for them? Because we know that they like busting out pretty unusual compositions, and, you know, you might see some Roadhog every now and then. How are you going to be preparing for the next week?
I mean, first and foremost, do your homework, right? Like, we know these guys are known for being creative with their compositions and stuff like that, and especially that's something that, you know, we gotta try to look out for and practice against in these scrims. But I think we're gonna put in the homework. I think we'll give them a good fight.
Okay, yeah, I'm certainly excited to see it. I do have a question specifically for Ira. You were our player of the match for this match. I'm not sure if you were able to hear that, but I do want to ask you, you know, I was in the lobby observing sometimes, and on the Mercy, I do see you pull out the Glock here and there a little more often than I might expect. When exactly do you decide that it's time to whip out the pistol and start doing some of that damage?
I'm surprised. I usually don't have to. We have DPS on our team that are so amazing at getting those final blows, and tanks who are so good on putting under pressure that it's a real privilege when I get to pull out the Glock and get into the fun. But yeah, I think on that map there's a few points where we were really fighting. Again, the Crusaders put up a great match, and we just needed to close out point. And sometimes the best thing you can do is pull out that Glock and help out.
Bloodthirsty.
Nobody expects the Glock, that's for sure.
All right, Marks, you got anything more?
I don't think so, but I guess my last question for you two would be, when you are setting up for like doing these scrims and preparing for these next round of matches and going against Team Growlulu, how do you think this is going to go? You think you're going to win?
I mean, come on. Honestly, we were saying to ourselves, like, we're not the NYXL. We're not going to choke in semis. We're not going to choke up to the I'm like, we're going to get to the finals, and you know, we're going to put on a good show, and I think we know what the end result is going to be. Don't really have to say it out loud, but we'll see what's going to happen.
I would like you to say it out loud, because I'm going to be honest. I sent my predictions in. I have you guys 3-0 over TG in the finals. I want to see if you guys think you'll live up to that.
We will do our best to live up to your lofty expectations. So. Yeah.
Bet your channel points wisely. That's all I'll say.
Ira bringing out the most diplomatic response or diplomatic trash talk I have ever heard when it comes to these esports situations. But I just wanted to say once again, congratulations to both of you for beating the Crusaders and going to this final against Team Growlulu. And once again, also congrats to Ira for being our player of the match.
All right, great. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for everything you do and for casting us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Vote for her for MVP. She deserves it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everyone, put in your votes for All Stars. That's exciting. We do have Ira on there as well, so put in your votes for her, and a lot of members from both Paradise Tempest and Crusaders. So definitely put in your votes to see who's actually going to play in that All-Star game. I wanted to fit that in before I forgot.
That's a very important point. But okay, thank you both, Ira and Rig, for that interview. And now thank you for tuning in to this Owlet game. As you can see in our bracket right here, it's going to be Paradise Tempest up against Team Growlulu. Which team is going to be winning season number 4? This is the stage 1 playoffs, of course. But of course, that isn't going to happen until the future. So make sure that you are following this channel, the Owlet Tournament, and you can be in the loop for when that final game is going to happen. But that's going to wrap up this game. Once again, Paradise Tempest wins against the Crusaders 3-0. This has been casted by me, Marks, and my buddy Spooky, and we were produced by Silent Marine. But thank you all for tuning in, and we hope to catch you for some more Owlet. The finals are coming up, baby.
Yeah, it's all finals. Only one game next week. Someone is going to come out on top. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Remember to vote for All Stars and catch us next week for Paradise Tempest against Team Growlulu. I can't wait. I'll see you guys there.
It's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.